champions as they come toward the top of the stretch. And they're into the stretch. And here we go. Songbird set down. Beholder is alongside.
The 7-year wait is over. American Pharoah is finally the one. American Pharoah has won.
He's just perfect. And now he's just immortal.
Here's the winner. Desperately close. Tesno wins it for America.
Hello and welcome to the stakes preview of January 26th, Pegasus weekend. Sully Crotty and Mike Callahan here this morning. Mike, how you doing?
What's going on, Sully? Big race day 2019 is going to kick it off here for us. A couple years ago they started the Pegasus, and man, has it really turned into something. Pegasus Day coming up, a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it has evolved into this ginormous race, and they wanted to get all the attention for the biggest purse, but now they still have the biggest U.S. purse, but they split it down the middle, as we know, to the turf and then to the Pegasus World Cup. But we're going to look at 5 races on that Pegasus card. All of them are going to be at Gulfstream Park. The first one we're going to look at races 8 through 12. So this is the late pick 5. The 8th race at Gulfstream Park. This is a Grade 2 event. They're going 1.5 miles on the turf course. This is the La Prévoyante. Very nice field there. And then we're going to move on to race number 9. Race 9 is the Fred W. Hooper Grade 3 event. They're going 1 mile on the main track. The 10th race, this is the W.L. McKnight, another Grade 3 event. 1.5 miles on the turf course is the trip. And then we'll look at races 11 and 12. The 11th race, this is the Pegasus World Cup Turf. 1 mile and 3/16 on the turf course. It's a Grade 1 event for $7 million. And then race 12 is the Pegasus World Cup. 1 mile and 1/8 on the main track. The purse for $9 million, Grade 1 event. Very, very interesting field in the Pegasus World Cup.
Yeah, we figured we'd just walk you through the pick 5 sequence. Maybe some of you put together a pick 5 ticket. We kind of give you some insight on that late pick 5 going into it. We'll start out in race number 8, as Sully alluded to. It's going to be the Grade 3 La Prévoyante. A field of 12 in here, and there are a lot of notable names. To me, it looked slightly chalky, and you want to talk about the notable names going into it. Holy Helena is the 3-1 lukewarm morning line favorite going out for Jimmy Jerkins. Rod Ortiz is going to be aboard. A horse that was in very good form back in the early part of 2018, sort of tailed off going on later, albeit did face very good class, including 4-star Crook. Did lose to Santa Monica, 4 starts back, who's going to be in this race. But there's a lot to like with Holy Helena, especially off the last race, which I know you're going to talk about. With a horse being in there that you have as an upset pick in here, and we're going to allude to it here in a second. Holy Helena obviously stands out in here. Santa Monica, a nice one for Chad Brown, who was running overseas and came over, and since then really didn't put in a bad effort till last time out in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. But if you draw a line through that race, she fits perfectly in here as well at 7-2 on the morning line. What were your thoughts? I know we have a replay to talk about as well.
Right. Starting out with Holy Helena, and as you said, Holy Helena, she really is. She's a horse that kind of tailed off, and as you said, but last time out, really nice effort, running against familiar company again here with the number 7 horse, who I think is in a little bit of a tough spot here, even though the upset over Holy Helena, that was over this Gulfstream Park surface. But as you said, race against 4-star Crook, Sister Charlie, Daddy's Little Darling, and a really nice turf horses here. But I'm going with an upset pick here, and we're going to have a replay of the number 11 Top Cats, who was in that race, that $75,000 stakes race at Gulfstream. This horse is going to make the second start here in North America, and as you watch the replay, the number 6 horse here, I think the horse will appreciate the stretch out here to the 1.5 miles, the 3 turns, and who's been more dangerous on the lead in these races than Julien Leparoux. As we know with Glorious Empire, he just gets right to the lead and does his thing. But as you watch the 6 horse here, really not a bad effort. You're in the horse is in the front here. The race really got sped up a little bit and really couldn't hold off anybody there was Julien. But this is a really nice effort for a 15-1 priced horse that really did not have a bad showing at all. So I do think Top Cats is interesting in this spot. Again, with Holy Helena, I don't really know. I was going to go Holy Helena on top of Top Cats, but I do like Leparoux on the front. I think the stretch out will help this one out. But underneath, I think Tricky Escape's interesting as well for John Service. Again, ran against 4-star Crook, Mom's on Strike, a Raving Beauty. So it's a really interesting race, and you're going to get a good price even if you like Holy Helena in a spot. But I went with slight upside.
And you kind of set me up perfectly because I went 5, 1, 9, and 2. And you're right, Top Cat is a little bit dangerous on the stretch out to the 1.5 miles, a horse that showed speed last time out, tired a little bit. But like you said, sometimes just those front-end situations going these route distances, you really never know. Become jocks races, able to slow down the pace, looks to be one to fear. To me, Tricky Escape's probably the horse that I like in here. And I think we're both in agreement that while we respect Holy Helena, we respect Santa Monica, and they're going to be vying for favoritism in here, I wanted to go a little bit of a different angle. And I think Tricky Escape is probably the angle that I think a lot of the other people are going to as the alternative are going to go towards. A horse that was really in good form back in the summer of 2018, had 3 in a row as far as wins goes, including a replay that we're going to see right now down at Kentucky Downs, which I thought was a very impressive effort. You're not going to see on the backside of this replay that this horse had the lead, but got really fanned out wide going into the far turn, and you're going to see it right here going down the backstretch. Actually has the lead at this point, and again, you're going to see a lot of camera angles in here as it is Kentucky Downs. But as a horse that's sort of getting away with some easy fractions, but then the race kind of becomes quite interesting. They apply a lot of pressure, and it's not just one horse. There are about 5 horses that are going to say, you know what, I think it's time to go. Everybody kind of angles in, fans out, but Tricky Escape gets really gutsy in this type of situation. This was, again, when Tricky Form is in really good form. I think this is a horse dangerous. Is going to go first time out for John Service, and you take a look at his stats with first time in his barn, 28%. I think this horse has a lot of quality. I think is going to relish the 1.5 mile distance. And again, at the 9-2 morning line price, I'm looking for an alternative from Holy Helena and Santa Monica, and you're going to see he's able to edge out a gutsy win when about 6 horses took a shot at him. So for me, I think that's the way I'm going to go with Tricky Escape on top at 9-2. Underneath Holy Helena in the 3rd spot, Santa Monica. Again, I wouldn't be shocked at all to see those horses run huge races as well. And if you're looking for a complete bomb in this situation, take a look at the Woodbine shipper shipping down for Kevin Attard, who does have a victory so far in the Champions Meet down at Gulfstream. You're going to get Luis Saez aboard, the 2-horse, AA Azula's Arch. 20-1 on the morning line. It's sneaky to me that Luis Saez, who had a couple options in here, goes to this horse that looks to be a live long shot, won a grade 3 over the synthetic up at Woodbine, going 1.25 miles. I think 1.5 miles is going to suit him. The turf hasn't been all that bad for this horse, only 2 times on the turf. So one that's a little bit unknown in here. And again, I wanted to go with different angles in here besides the favorites. The 2 could definitely make some noise and blow up the pick 5 early in here as my live long shot in here. So again, I have it 5, 1, 9, and 2. And your thoughts?
Right. Before I have 11, 1, 5, and I agree. I think the Woodbine shippers are always dangerous in South Florida. And last time out, it's lost to Pumpkin Rumble. Pumpkin Rumble's an absolute stud up there. So I like that as your long shot play. But I have 11, 1, 5, and 9.
All right, we will switch now to race number 9, the second part of that pick 5, which is going to be the grade 3 Fred Hooper. Going to go a mile distance. There is a field in here of 10, and there are a lot of notable names in here. And this one is probably, it looks on paper, a 9-5 morning line favorite with Cold Front. You're going to see, as you see the horses, they're going to go on the Fred Hooper, the grade 3 event. Cold Front at 9-5 to me is interesting. A horse coming off of a huge victory last time out in the Mr. Prospector grade 3 down there going 7 furlongs. Got everything his own way. Kick cleared from a solid field to win that race by 3 3/4. That was the first start at Gulfstream, was coming off a little bit of a freshening. To me, this horse is either going to win this race or going to be off the board. He's a hot and cold type of horse in here. A lot of money is going to go out on for Todd Pletcher, Johnny V. I think he can upset him in here with Coppertown in this situation. And I definitely wanted to show you the replay of 2 back for Coppertown. Now, you're going to throw out, I'm just going to completely disregard that race in the Cigar Mile last time out based on the fact that this horse got off to a really bad break and got steadied at the start. But this was the replay of Coppertown, and is actually going to be the number 5 in this spot. Breaks poorly in there, as you see, and is actually shuffled back to last. And again, this is coming off of a year-plus layoff. Is able to rush up in here. And it's one of those situations where you think maybe off a year layoff, he's just going to need a race in this type of situation, facing a solid field of Allowance Company in here, going 6.5 at Keeneland, where every field is solid. This is a really crafty ride by Javier to apply some pressure on the outside. You're going to see has a 4-wide trip the entire way. And this was the reason why everybody was on him and going in the Cigar Mile. We were actually down there for that race. We both had Coppertown as our top choice in here. And he's just going to sit off the pace in here. I think you're going to get a similar trip in here with the fact that Cold Front drew the rail. You're also going to see a couple others in here, including Aztec Sense, who's going to be forwardly placed as well. You could see an identical trip up here for Coppertown. I know off the lackluster effort last time out, I'm going to throw it out. I understand why people would say maybe the horse just isn't sharp enough. But look at this horse kick clear. And again, it just has to be noted. This is off of a year-plus layoff. And for me, I have to give this horse another shot based on the price, 6-1. Javier stays aboard. I know the mile distance. Probably he's more of a 6.5, 7 furlong horse in here. The mile distance could be a little bit of a concern in here, but for me at the price and a horse that has a lot of ability, I don't think we saw it last time out. I think he's one to look at in here. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. I'm actually going to go with Aztec Sense, and I'm a big fan of the horse, how the horses are running, and these trends they kind of sent. Aztec Sense has won 8 in a row, and they have been stakes races, but going to be facing much better here today. And I agree with everything you said with Cold Front. Cold Front is the horse to beat here after those last couple starts there, and last time out looked great at Gulfstream, a very, very impressive win, and beat the number 2 horse in this spot. But Coppertown's another interesting horse, and I love betting Windstar. I love betting China Horse Club, and as we know, the connections of Justify, and they won a lot of races in 2018. Stakes races, allowance optional claiming races, graded stakes, restricted stakes. They were cleaning up everywhere they went. So you're getting a fair price there at 6-1. I have Coppertown right in the mix, but I do have Aztec Sense. I like Jaramillo in these one-turn races. I like Jorge Navarro as well. This horse is 3 for 4 over this surface, 8 for 8 going into this race of the last 8, and he's beat some nice horses down in Florida, including Rich Daddy and Small Bear. So the horse came in from Parks off a little bit of layoff and really didn't lose a step there. So I'm going to go with Aztec Sense on top. I love Navarro, second off those long layoffs. He's really he's winning 30% of those starts. Winning the next time out, he's winning 39% of his starts. So I'm going to go with the speed and jockey and Jaramillo that I really like getting to the front end in these one-turn races. I Cold Front underneath, as I said, in the Coppertown in the 3rd spot. I do think the 9, Unbridled Wand,
I was just going to ask you
very,
that question.
very, very interesting.
I said, what were you going to do with Unbridled Wand? Because you take a look at that last out effort, and Dalmore actually flatters this horse off that 3rd last time in the Sunshine Million Classic. And for me, that's the wise guy horse in here as well. I'm glad your thoughts were as that, and I'll let you elaborate from there. But it was just funny because that was literally the question I was going to ask you going into it.
Right. I mean, I have Unbridled Wand. I'm going to put in my pick 5, pick 4 ticket, Rainbow 6 ticket. I have in the 4th spot, but a very dangerous horse. And there is a ton of speed in this race with Cold Front, with Coppertown and Aztec Sense, all want to get to the lead. Breaking Lucky, Louis Size want to get to the lead. Unbridled Wand necessarily does not need to get to the lead. The last couple starts was off the pace, two or three lengths. So this horse does have a serious closing kick. We did see that 2 starts back, even 3, and last time out. And as you said, beating Dalmore had to be a little bit flattering because the horse ran great last week in the Sunshine Million. So Unbridled Wand offers a lot of value with the closing speed and for the home team connections in Stronach.
Yeah, I think the only horse that we haven't really touched upon that I think has a serious chance as well would be Breaking Lucky, a horse that I just last time ran a huge race, winning by open lengths, 8 1/4 that day at Gulfstream, so it does have the recency of a race over the Gulfstream Park surface. And again, one that's hot and cold. This is a race, to me, that it's a little bit more confusing than you see on paper because you have a lot of eye-popping performances, but horses that just can't repeat those performances. You take a look at a horse like Coppertown, who I have on top, a horse that finished 8th last time, but had a really good race 2 back. You take a look at Cold Front, finished 5th 2 starts back, but had a win last time by open lengths. Breaking Lucky finished 8th 2 starts back, and had a win by 8 1/4 last time. So again, it really depends on which horse is going to be able to show up in here, the type of situations, the race dynamics. It looks like Cold Front's going to be forwardly placed in here. I think Coppertown's going to be sitting just off. But there's a lot of dynamics, and Aztec Sense is going to be too far away. So we'll see how it goes. But again, ultimately, I'll try to take a shot with Coppertown at 6-1, 8, 1, 4, and 9. And again, your thoughts?
6-1, 8 and 9.
All right, we'll take a look at the 10th now. It's the W.L. McKnight. It's a Grade 3 event. They're going to go 1.5 miles on the turf. It's race number 10, the 3rd part of that pick 5 in here. and it's a field of 14 in here. And again, you're just taking a look at prices, and that's a very nice board to look at if you want to bet this race in multis. If you just want to put win bets on there, you have a lukewarm favorite in Zula Alpha at 4-1 on the morning line, a horse that finished 7th last time down at Gulfstream in the Grade 2 Fort Lauderdale. Didn't get the best of trips that day, so you may want to take a pass on Zula Alpha on that last effort and just draw a line right through it. You go back to the Zula Alpha that was very good back in October at Keeneland, was able to get up and win that race by 2 lengths against Arklow, bigger picture, nice horses there. And you take a look at that even 3-back race where the horse ran a career best 103 buyer, won that race by 9 1/4, going 1.16 miles. That's tough to do. So the real good Zula Alpha, this horse shows up in here, is a deserved favorite. I know there's a horse you like in here as far as race replays go, so I'll sort of set you up and go from there.
Right. I do like the number 7 in this race here, and this horse is going out for Arnold Delacour, Javier Castellano, and we're going to pull up a replay here. And this is a horse that's coming in from Arlington. We haven't seen this horse since July 7th, but this horse is going to be flying late, the number 9 in this spot, and came back after running at Keeneland, lost to One Go All Go, who just wired the field that day, had a blanket finish, was 7 lengths off the lead that day at Keeneland, finished 6 by 2 lengths behind One Go All Go, who took him wire to wire. Came back, lost by a length at Belmont Park in the Belmont Gold Cup, and then next time out went to Arlington, took a ton of money because of those 2 performances, and ran this giant race here in some pretty slow fractions. And Arlington's not really known for, they usually don't run quick numbers over at Arlington, but this is a slower pace here, and this horse is just flying late. So I do like the 7 here. I love Javier in these type of spots, so I'm going to go with the 7 on top. The number 2 horse is interesting too. We're getting some price here from Mike Maker, Panther Ramsey, and Jose Ortiz as well. This is a horse that's coming in from 2 non-race races, but they're really nice races. This lost to Village King. The Village King thing was a deep flight in this spot. I'm going to call it a big race, but this horse is flying late. Jose Ortiz usually is more aggressive naked moves. As you saw, this horse is 9 lengths off the lead, 16 lengths to begin, and finished second by a head there. Going back to Gulfstream, where this horse has had a lot of success and ran okay outside of Gulfstream, especially at Kentucky Downs. Really nice effort there at Kentucky Downs to finish 3rd by 3/4 of a length to Arklow. So closing speed is going to be dangerous here. I do like the 7 with Javier. I do like the number 2 with Jose. And then the number 8, Hunting Horn. And I can't talk about Hunting Horn enough because this horse raced against Catholic Boy in the Belmont Derby against Analyze It the first time. And this horse ran a huge monster race. So I think it
was actually the favorite going into that race.
Absolutely. And, and I had the horse on my ticket as long as Catholic Boy, but the horse ran a really nice race. So I think coming back in from the Breeders' Cup turf, Enable was the real deal that day. I didn't think Hunting Horn really had a shot there, but it's Aidan O'Brien. You're getting a fair price here on the grass with Aidan O'Brien. So this is a nice race as well. I think the pace will be a little quick, set the race up for some closers. But ultimately, I had the 7 on top. But I know you like the 12, and I have it in the 4th spot.
Yeah, I do. I have it 12, 7, 2, and 4. I like Village King. I have no objection against Candesar at all. Even off that long layoff, again, you talk about Arnaud Delacour's stats off 180-plus day layoffs, 31%. So if you're looking at it saying maybe this horse is going to be ready to go and needs a race, if there's one trainer who can actually do this but in this type of spot off a long layoff, Arnaud Delacour can definitely do it. So I have no objection with that horse. I have in the 2nd spot. Village King's interesting. And again, I respect Zula Alpha as a favorite, but for me, I'm going to try to take a price in here. Village King is one that's lightly raced as far as being in North America. Was actually started the career down in Argentina and went into the Todd Pletcher barn. Something went amiss. They gave this horse about a year off and reappeared at Churchill against Zula Alpha, where this horse took the lead, ended up faltering late that day, but took a bunch of money in that North American debut, and then needed a couple races to get into form and really was able to put it together in that off-the-turf event down at Aqueduct, the Red Smith. Against Soglo and also Control Group. Got the job done, got a 91 buyer. Last time out was over a sloppy surface. They tried, because the horse did so well on dirt, they tried again down at Gulfstream Park, and it ended up being an off-going race in the Harlan's Holiday. Finished 4th, only beating a length and a quarter. But this horse is a turf horse. This horse was meant to be on turf. Genevieve stays. I think you're going to see the best of it. I think the 1.5 miles is actually going to benefit Village King. It's going to be 4ly placed in here. And again, same sort of dynamic Sully was talking about 2 races ago. In these type of route distances, sometimes the fractions become pedestrian. Everything sort of slows down. I'm hoping that's the case with Village King in here. And again, Johnny V is going to be aboard for Todd Pletcher. Like to see that. Probably goes off somewhere around 8-9 to 1, but it's going to be a live long shot in here for me. I'll have on top. Canasar underneath, which you already touched upon. Soglo in the third spot. For me, I have nothing. A horse that has done nothing wrong down at Gulfstream, has 2 wins, been in the money 4 times and 4 lifetime starts down at Gulfstream, is always there, should have won last time against Red Knight, just lacked some room to get out in that race. I have nothing as far as an objection to anybody who likes Soglo at 9 to 2, probably goes off somewhere around 7 to 2. To me, it was just slightly too short, and I thought it was going to be a horse that's bet really. But you take a look at that 3-back race against Super Tappet, where Soglo beat Super Tappet. How good has Super Tappet been since? Comes back to win last week, had won and done really, really good in the last 2 events to win both of those races. So for me, it is a live one in here. Again, I have it 12, 7, 2, and 4. And your thoughts again?
I had 7, 2, 8, and 12.
All right, that's going to bring us to our break. We are through 3 legs of that late pick 5. When we come back, we'll take a look at the 2 big ones, the Pegasus Turf and the Pegasus World Cup. Welcome back to the Capital OTB Stakes preview for this upcoming weekend, which is Pegasus weekend. And as we haven't had a chance to touch upon it yet, but we definitely want to talk about it. We're taping now on Thursday, but by the time everybody's seeing this right now, you'll be living in the sunshine down at Gulfstream.
Yeah, and right now, you know, there's supposed to be some weather down there, so hopefully that kind of clears up.
Yeah, definitely when you're handicapping, take that into your equation of handicapping. It looks to be about 50-50 on Saturday. On Sunday, looks to be the washout day.
Right.
As far as taking everything off the turf. But hopefully they can get through everything. As far as programming goes, if you want to tell our patrons as far as the programming down on Saturday when we're going to be live down at Gulfstream.
Right, so we're going to have a handicappers report in the morning around 9 o'clock with Brian and Seth. And then Seth will have Racing Across America. We're going to get some guests on there. Guests are still to be announced.
It's actually going to be 8 to 9 for Handicappers Report and then 9 to 10 for RAA. But you're going to be live all afternoon with Seth. So
yeah, we'll be doing OTB live cut-ins as we always do, but we'll be on the podcast and we'll be overlooking the walking ring. So we'll kind of start some plays. It's got a lot of fun over Friday. We're doing interviews, which will be shown on Saturday and Sunday. So it's a great weekend. We're having new information. We're looking forward to that.
We're going to right now, you know, with the World Cup, to be an article in the mile for this stuff, you know, kind of see going into all the Europeans, a little bit off season as far as last year. And last for now, we're able to go based more into our sub of 10 in here. You have a lukewarm favorite in Yoshida at 5 to 2 on the morning line, and should be a deserved favorite off that 4th place finish last time in the Breeders' Cup Classic, where it was closing. Thought that was a good effort against Accelerate, only lost by a length and a quarter. And again, is a horse that could have gone to the dirt, could have gone in the turf, decided to go into the turf in here. And you have to take a look at the Turf Classic, where it really stamped herself as a horse in here that looks to be very, very sharp. One that was able to upset Beach Patrol that day, got a 106 buyer. Horse that really hasn't put in a bad effort, is always sort of closing home on either surface. Your thoughts on Yoshida?
Yeah, obviously Yoshida's the play here, and you know I gave a pass in the 4-star Dave there. Voodoo Song looked great. Delta Prince ran a huge race that day, who's also in this field. And then in the Woodward, speaks for itself. The horse was very, very wide and got up to win that race. Did not think ran bad at all in the Breeders' Cup Classic, but they're going to try the turf here. And, you know, I never questioned Bill Mott when he places a horse on the turf. He's been doing it forever, and he's had a ton of success on the turf. And this is definitely a live runner here. Looked great on a yielding turf course at Churchill last May. So this is a horse that I think is deserving 5 to 2. But I'm going to try to beat the horse in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things you have to take a look at. And the first thing for me that popped out, and Sully and I, our desks are right together, and when we were taking a look at this race, we try not to talk about our handicapping. We just try to talk about things that sort of are eye-popping. You have the Japanese mare that's coming over, the 5-year-old mare that's a rare Aerolith. who's the 4 horse at 8-1, is actually going to be carrying 112, and you're going to see that right now on the board, and also Magic Wand. So Magic Wand and Aerolith are getting 12 pounds from predominantly the entire cast in this 10-horse field in this type of situation. That's a lot of weight, so you want to take that and put that into your equation as well. Ultimately, you and I settled on the same horse. I actually love this horse. Bricks and Mortars. I have it 7, 1, 2, and 9. You take a look at Bricks and Mortar, and you want to take a look at your replay first. We actually have 2 replays of Bricks and Mortar to show you, but it was back in the Hill Prince, and I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at the Hill Prince here, and I do really like Bricks and Mortar in this spot. I really hope that 5-1 price holds on. So you're going to be looking at Bricks and Mortar in the Hill Prince last October of 2017 at Belmont Park, and this horse is 7 lengths off in the beginning, 4 lengths off at the end. So you'll see this horse flying late against Yoshida, who's the winner in this spot. But this horse loses by 3/4 of a length. You could really see the horse coming here. And it's just such a blanket finish. And I think if that race was just a little bit longer, Bricks and Mortar gets up to win that race, and that's why I like this distance for this horse. This horse has a serious closing kick. Love the connections of Chad and Klarovich. Yes, the layoff was a little bit of a question mark, but horse came back and ran a great race. I know you want to talk about that
which
race.
we're about to see right now. So that was the last time that we had seen Bricks and Mortar until Bricks and Mortar was able to reappear off of a year-plus layoff on December 22nd. And we're going to see that down at Gulf.
Yeah, 316. So I have that horse on top. Magic Wand in the second spot. Showed a really nice effort, I thought, against Sister Charlie, who looked on back on Saturday. And then the 5 for me, I did put in the third spot. Number 5, that is Next Shares. You're getting a really nice price here. And this is an interesting horse because this horse has gone to the lead in these type of route races and also sat off the pace. So this horse could either go to the lead, sit off the pace, or sit right middle of the pack. Tyler Gaffalione, I think, will pick out a perfect spot. I love Richard Baltus on the grass. He's having a great meet out in Santa Anita on the grass. So this is an interesting horse going back to Gulfstream, where the horse already does have a win and has raced some nice horses in Kentucky and over in California. So I think at the 15-1 price, Next Shares offers a little bit of value. But I did want to ask you, what did you think of Delta Prince? Because we saw that horse up at the Woodbine Mile, who's the number 8 in here with Frankie Dettori.
Yeah, I had just outside the mix, and you take a look at that workout going 6 furlongs, 110 flat. I think this horse, blinkers are going to come off. Last time they tried it, didn't do much running that day, albeit that was on the dirt. So maybe if you just want to draw a line through it, that's fine. But you take a look at that horse for course theory, has 3 lifetime starts on a Gulfstream, 2 wins in a second. I think this horse is a live long shot. Like you said, very interesting. Frankie Dettori gets aboard. And again, one of those where if for some reason the big guns don't fire in here, this horse at a really nice price. And I think it's going to hold. I think that the 15-1 is going to hold on Delta Prince. Is one that if wakes up is a serious contender in here. And again, my last thought in this whole taking a look at this race, I think what you said was right. Take a look at the weather because Magic Wand, I've watched a ton of replays on. Almost the entire field I have. Magic Wand's one that likes it to be firmer, on the firm side.
Yes.
So if there's no weather, I think her chances will increase dramatically. Yoshida, if there's rain, I think that his chances will increase dramatically. He's a horse, you take a look at the past performance line, down at Pimlico, was able to come from 23 lengths off of it. That was a good going. You take a look at the upset win against Beach Patrol. That was on a yielding going. I think he's one that likes it to be a little bit softer. And you take a look at Bricks and Mortar. That's the unknown, a horse that's only raced on firm before. If there is some weather, we'll see how it impacts him. But again, if it's a firm going in here, I think it's Bricks and Mortar at 5-1 and a really nice price in the Pegasus turf. All right, we'll end on that topic. Gone back and reflected on that Breeders' Cup Classic. They went really quick early. I think Accelerate took advantage of that, sitting just off the pace. Was able to kick clear, and you thought you just wanted a little bit more as far as a finishing kick. They came home in 27 seconds flat. For me, it just seemed like everybody was gasping for air. Accelerate got home first. That was sort of the deal for me. Horse that loves the mile and eighth distance, 3 for 4 lifetime. I've never been able to fall in love with Accelerate, albeit he's probably going to prove me wrong on Saturday and potentially get the job done. But for me, City of Light at 5-2 is so much more attractive. A horse that won the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile last time out, going the mile distance, came home in a quick 1:33.4, and was really never challenged that day against Seeking the Soul. And Bravazzo was in that race, came back to run a good second last time in the Grade 1 Clark. For me, I have it 3, 4, 5, and 8. What were your thoughts of the favorite? Do you see any other long shots in here potentially? Which I believe, because I remember seeing your picks, you do like a long shot in here.
Yeah, I do like Audible here, and never thought you would hear Audible as a long shot, but Audible's at 10-1. You're getting Flavian Pratt to come over to Florida from California. He's got a ton of mounts throughout the card, and first time in the irons because Javier is obviously going to City of Light. But this is a horse that loves Gulfstream Park, as we know. I'm giving a complete pass the last time out on a sloppy racetrack. Excited to see how this horse runs again on a fast track where the horse dominated in the Florida Derby. I know the fractions were very, very quick and set up perfectly for this horse, but before that, in the Holy Bull, that was a very, very impressive performance. And I'm a big fan of Flavian Pratt. I love Pletcher at these prices. And again, going out for WinStar China Horse Club. Audible, I'm going to put on top with that 10-1 price. Obviously, you have to respect Accelerate. I personally think should be Horse of the Year over Justify. And again, we're taping this on Thursday, so we don't know who won the Eclipse. But personally, I think Accelerate should be Horse of the Year, but I have City of Light second. I was tossed up between who do I want, Audible or City of Light. I'm a big fan of City of Light. The stretch out will not be an issue at all for this horse. This horse looked so dominant last time out in that Breeders' Cup race. Javier obviously will be back in the irons, but this horse looked great at Saratoga. That Grade 1 event on Travers Day. Lost to Whitmore. Limousine Liberal was also in that field. City of Light ran a nice race, but took a ton of money because of that performance we saw in the Grade 2 and then at Santa Anita, that Grade 1 event. So it took a ton of money. I did not like the price, but I still thought ran a really nice race in the Forego. So City of Light, I wanted to put on top, but I ultimately went with Audible. The price is a little better, but still, you're getting 2.5-1 on City of Light.
Yeah, and the way the race sort of shapes up, you have Pattern Recognition on the far outside, who's coming on with his own 3-race winning streak of his own, is a horse that needs to get to the lead. And you're going to take a look at City of Light. You're going to say a mile distance stretching out to mile and eighth, a horse that had the lead last time out in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, got the job done. I wanted to show you a replay, not of a race that was recent for this horse, but just go back to April when this horse was able to beat Accelerate. And we're going to pop it up on the screen right now. This horse was able to beat Accelerate in the Oaklawn Handicap and sat a rateable trip in here. The 11 on the outside, Accelerates 3 wide in the 10 at 6-5 right now, and is just sitting off and tracking these type of horses. I think you're going to see the same type of setup in here where this horse is just tracking a couple in here, may get the jump on Accelerate. At this point, on this day, Accelerate was actually in front of him, and look how easy he's doing it in this type of situation. I think the stretch out, this horse will like to go the mile and an eighth again. I think this is one of those situations where you don't need the lead. Could get the lead. I'm not saying that he won't. With Pattern Recognition in here, you just kind of think that Javier Castellano is going to want to rate in this type of situation. But it's really gutsy to hang on against Accelerate, who's just always trying in every sort of race that he's able to run. So for me, I think you're going to see it in a different type of dynamic, which is why I wanted to show you this replay, to show that City of Light is one of those horses that can rate and sit off of and get the job done. Got a career best 107 in that race. Last time out, then beat that and got a 110. So for me, I think it's coming in real sharp. Last time on January 19th, you take a look at that bullet work. 47-1 for 4 furlongs, first of 104. For me, I think it's City of Light's day to win this race. But underneath, you're taking a look at prices. I like Seeking the Soul. I think it's going to be a 1-2 finish like the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. I really just couldn't pull the trigger on Accelerate at 9-5, albeit he's a threat. The 8 in this type of situation, Gunnavera, at 8-1, I think is a horse that's just always trying. Finished second last time at 30-1 in the Breeders' Cup Classic. But for me, the wise guy horse coming into it is Seeking the Soul, coming off of a lackluster effort against Leofric Bravazzo, who's in here. One that just turned 4. there's so many different angles in here. Are there a couple live long shots in here, or just horses that you're going to want to look at on Saturday and say, you know what, maybe I include them in my mix? Even Kalukin, the Mexican horse, at 30 to 1, a horse that's 14 for 14 lifetime, albeit against Mexican breds. Did race last time in the Clásico del Caribe, the Caribbean Classic. 30 to 1. Do you include that horse in the pick 5?
I mean, you get Frankie Dettori, and look at these margins. This horse is winning by 10 lengths, 11 lengths, 12 lengths, 8 lengths, 6 lengths. So, yes, this horse is 14 for 14 lifetime. The one thing I think is going to hurt this horse is going up way up in poundage. Even if you have Frankie Dettori aboard, who's going to do everything he can to be right in the race at 30 to 1. But I think if you're going for a long shot here, I know you touched upon this horse just a little bit. I think Bravazzo at 12 to 1 with Luis Saez is very, very dangerous in this spot. Obviously, you get Luis Saez aboard. He's got 60-something wins through the meet so far. And you get Dwayne Lucas. This horse just reminds me a lot like Gunnevera. These horses are great horses. They just run second or third every time. And you're getting great prices on Gunnevera and Bravazzo. So playing these horses in second, third, and then Bravazzo to complete a super and run in third, I think is a fantastic play. This horse is going to be flying home. We did see that last time out. We did see that in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. So this is a very interesting horse. I love Luis Saez back in the irons. This horse ran great in the Haskell behind Good Magic. And then the Travers ran great behind Catholic Boy. This horse was coming late. So Bravazzo at 12 to 1. I don't think he needs to get to lead. I think Saez is going to be sitting 4th, 5th, couple lengths off the lead. Could be dangerous late in this race.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways. Accelerate, you have to respect in this
Yes.
situation. The City of Light, you have to respect. But there are a lot of nice prices going into this race. I think all of them are going to hold because I think a lot of money is just going to be
On the 3 and the 5, right.
City of Light and Accelerate. And if you can get one of the prices home, round out that pick 5. More power to you. Hopefully you score out pretty big. But that's going to wrap things up for us. Again, before we leave you, do want to go over programming for this weekend as Sully and Seth will be down live from Gulfstream. We're going to have Handicappers Report on Saturday from 8 to 9. We're going to have Racing Across America with some interviews from 9 to 10 to get you as far as just in-depth analysis and as far as some good insight going into the big races. And then all afternoon long, you guys are going to have some live cut-ins down at Gulfstream Park. And again, thanks for tuning in. Until we see you again, take care.